If your partner's struggles feel like too much and you keep hoping they'll change and they never do and you never move forward, then I want to gently say something hard but empowering. You're part of the problem too. Not because you're wrong, not because you caused it, but because waiting for someone else to change is giving your power away. And today I'm going to show you how to take it back. Hey there, welcome to the Focus Podcast with Tara Lee. This is the place where we talk about real life, real relationships, and how to grow through it all. If you're looking for simple mindset shifts, better communication, and deeper connections, you're in the right spot. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Focus Podcast with Tara Lee. I'm Tara Lee Eddington, and this is the place where we talk about real life, real relationships, and how to navigate some of the hardest moments you'll ever face. If you're listening today, there's a good chance you're exhausted. Exhausted from trying, exhausted from hoping, exhausted from waiting for your partner to finally become the person you need them to be. And maybe you're starting to realize that they're not going to change, at least not on your timeline, and that realization feels terrifying. Because if they're not going to change, what does that mean for you? Does it mean you're stuck? Does it mean you have to leave? Does it mean you just have to accept being miserable? It means something much more powerful than any of those options. It means you get to take your power back. And that's something we're talking about today. After working with many couples and individuals in crisis, there's one thing I say more often than anything else. Your peace and your happiness will never come from your partner changing. It won't come from them finally seeing things your way, and it won't come from them becoming who you wish they were. Your peace has to come from you. I call this the Oz effect, and I learned it from Dr. Matt Townsend. You remember the Wizard of Oz, right? Dorothy wanted to go home, the Scarecrow wanted a brain, the Lion wanted courage, and they all believed that the wizard was going to give them what they were missing. But when they finally pulled back the curtain, they realized something shocking. The power was never in the wizard. It was in them the whole time. Dorothy had the answer on her feet all along. And this is what I see happen in relationships every day. We turn our partner into the wizard. We believe if they change, I'll be okay. Or if they fix this, I'll be happy. If they become different, I can finally have peace. But your partner is not your wizard. You are the wizard of your own life. The moment you believe your partner holds the power to fix everything, you remove that power from yourself. And when you remove your power, there's only one place left to stand. That's small, victim, martyr, hopeless. And that's not who you are. You are a powerful participant in this relationship system. I know you are because I could ask you right now, what's one thing you could do today to completely blow up your relationship? You can probably think of 10. You could pack your bags and leave without a word. You could have an affair. You could empty the bank accounts. You could say the most hurtful things you could think of. You have that power, which means if you have the power to destroy it, you also have the power to change how you show up inside it. You are not powerless. You've never been powerless. You've just been focused on the wrong thing. You've been focused on what you can't control, which is their behavior, instead of what you can control, your response. And that shift from focusing on them to focusing on you changes everything. When I meet with couples, they almost always say the same thing. You never listen to me. You control everything. I have no power. Everything I do is wrong. And what's fascinating is that both partners say the same thing. They both feel powerless. They both feel unheard. They both feel like victims. So I stop them and I say, before we tear each other apart, I want to know something very specific. What do you know you contributed to this problem? And they look at me like, what are you talking about? I'm the victim here. But then we slow it down. Let me give you a real example. One partner says, you're always late and it ruins everything. And the other partner says, I have ADHD. I lose track of time. So I ask, is that something that you need to work on? Well, yeah. How long have you been working on it? 3 years. Okay, then we need to work on that. And then I turn to the other partner and I say, you predicted they would be late, but you still waited. Why? Well, I hoped that they would change. So now what we're really bringing into the relationship is his ADHD and her anxiety. Both are hoping the other person will fix it. But you can't fix their ADHD and they can't fix your anxiety. Because here's the key principle here. You are not responsible for fixing your partner's problems, but you are responsible for doing 100% of the work to manage your emotional response to them. Your job is to love and connect anyway, or get strong enough to make a different choice if it truly is too much. If your partner's issue is too much and you keep hoping they'll change and they never do, and you never move forward, then the pattern continues. That's not victim shaming, that's empowerment. Let me describe something that I see all the time. Your partner is struggling. Maybe they're angry. Maybe they're distant. Maybe they're stuck in a pattern that they can't seem to break. And your instinct is to fix it. So you explain what they should do differently. You defend why your way is better, and you send long messages trying to get them to see. You try to logic them into change. And you think if they just understood, they'd finally shift. But instead of changing, they dig in deeper. And they get more defensive, they pull further away. And then you're left standing there thinking, what am I doing wrong? But here's the truth. When someone is struggling, they don't need you to fix them. They need you to be safe. And most people don't realize that in their effort to help, they're actually creating more pressure. They're creating more shame and more defensiveness, because here's what your partner hears underneath all your helpful advice. They hear, you're not good enough. You're failing. I wouldn't struggle with this, so why are you? Even if that's not what you're saying, even if that's not what you mean, that is what they're hearing. And when someone feels that way, they don't open up and change. They close down and defend. So what do they actually need? They need 3 things. They need to feel heard, they need to feel seen, and they need to feel safe. Not fixed, not solved, not corrected, just seen. And this is one of the hardest skills to learn, because sitting in discomfort feels unbearable sometimes. When someone you love is struggling, every cell in your body wants to make it stop. But steadiness is what creates safety, not fixing, not solving, not explaining, just being there. It sounds like, I hear you. I can see this is hard for you. I'm here. What do you need from me right now? That's it. No, but have you tried this? No, if you would just ... Just presence. And I know some of you are thinking, but if I don't push, they'll never change. But here's what I want you to understand. Your pushing hasn't worked. If it was going to work, it would have worked by now. All your pushing has done is created more distance. It's created more resentment, more defensiveness. So what if you tried something different? What if instead of trying to change them, you focused on changing you? Instead of focusing on where I have no power, their behavior, I focus on where I do have power. My behavior, my response, my clarity, not bravado, not pretending I'm strong, real strength, social strength, build real support with friends, emotional strength, learn how your mind works, spiritual strength, reconnect with your values and purpose, mental strength, get skills for communication and boundaries. Because when you stop making your partner responsible for feeding every emotional need, you start becoming fed in healthier ways. And here's the principle. Where you focus on your power grows. Where you focus on what you can't control, your power shrinks. Let me give you a simple question. Think of a place in your life where you feel stuck. A place where you blame someone else, where you feel frustrated. Now ask yourself, what would it look like to stop expecting them to be the wizard? What do I need to accept? What do I need to learn? What do I need to strengthen in myself? If I were strong enough, what would I do differently? Those answers hold your power. Now, let me tell you about a client I heard about. Her husband had lost a good job and wasn't bringing in money. She was terrified, so she nagged him constantly. Have you applied anywhere today? Why aren't you trying harder? What are we going to do? And the more she nagged, the more he shut down. And the more he shut down, the more anxious she became. And the more anxious she became, the more she nagged. It was a vicious cycle. And one day her therapist said to her, let's assume he can't change right now. What would you do? And she looked at him like he was crazy. What do you mean? He's the one who needs to get the job. I know, but what if he doesn't? What if this goes on for another 6 months? What would you do? So she sat there for a long time and she said, well, I guess I'd go get a job. I'd step up. I would take responsibility. So she did. She updated her resume. She started networking. She built a career and she became successful. And here's what's interesting. As she changed, the system changed. Not because she forced him, but because she stopped making him responsible for her security. She took her power back. And when she did, he had space to find his own motivation again. Sometimes one person changing how they show up changes everything. Not always, but always with integrity. Here's another important truth. We often react to our partner from our lowest self. Fear, anger, resentment, withdrawal. But you get to choose, will I respond in principle or will I react in fear? The moment you stop reacting to their deficits, you start becoming someone you respect again. And that matters because the real pain is not just what your partner is doing. The real pain is when you start becoming someone you don't like. Someone negative, bitter, avoidant, critical. There's a quote that I've heard before. I'll probably mess this up, but I love this quote. It's not the snake that bites you that kills you. It's chasing the snake that drives venom to your heart. When we get hurt, we chase the story. We obsess over what they did, and we replay it over and over again. We even tell anyone who will listen, but we become someone we're not. The moment you say, I'm not going to lose myself in this, everything begins to shift. Every partner has limits. No one person can meet every need. Some partners are great providers but struggle emotionally. Some are loving but messy. Some are loyal but distant. The problem isn't that they aren't perfect. The problem is the illusion of who we wish they were. When you accept who they actually are, not who you hoped they would be, relationships often soften and you stop framing everything as a failure. You start seeing reality clearly. And sometimes with that clarity, you may realize, I can't do this anymore. But now you're not deciding from fear, you're deciding from integrity. You're deciding from values, from strength, from truth, not blame. You are not the problem, but you are part of the solution. When you change how you participate in the system changes. You don't have to demand change. You don't have to beg for change. You become the change. And whether that leads to reconnection or a new chapter, you will know you stood in your power, and that is peace. Here's what I want you to do this week. Ask yourself these 3 questions. Number 1, where am I waiting for my partner to be the wizard? Where am I believing that if they just changed, I'd be okay? Number 2, what would I do differently if I accepted they might never change? Not from defeat, but from empowerment. And number 3, what strength do I need to build in myself? Social, emotional, spiritual, mental? And then write down your answers. And then take one action this week that builds your strength instead of waiting for them to change. That's where your power is. If this episode spoke to you, if you're realizing you've been giving your power away, if you're ready to stop waiting and start becoming, I want to help you. This is exactly what I do in my Marriage Breakthrough program. I help you stop reacting from your lowest self. I help you build real strength, emotional, mental, social, spiritual. I help you respond in principle instead of fear, and take your power back without blowing up your life. I help you make decisions from integrity instead of desperation, because here's the truth. You can listen to all the podcasts, you can read all the books, you can consume all the content in the world. But if you don't have someone helping you apply it to your specific situation, you'll stay stuck. Because your marriage isn't like anyone else's, your partner isn't like anyone else's, and you need a personalized plan, not generic advice. That's what I do on my free clarity calls. We spend 45 minutes talking about what's actually happening in your relationship, where the breakdown is right now, and what pattern is running things, and what your specific next step needs to be. Not your partner's next step, yours, because you're the only one you can control. And when you change how you show up, everything shifts. Not always in the way you expect, but always toward truth, always toward integrity, always toward your power. So if you're tired of waiting, if you're tired of hoping they'll change, if you're ready to take your power back, go to terryleeeddington.com and book your free clarity call with me. Let's figure out what's really going on, and let's create a plan that puts you back in the driver's seat of your life. This doesn't have to be the end of your story. It can be the moment you stopped waiting for a wizard and realized you had the power all along. Thanks for being here with me today. If this episode helped you, please share it with someone who's waiting for someone else to change. Keep showing up, keep growing, and remember, what you focus on expands. I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for hanging out with me today on the Focus Podcast. If something stood out or helped you in some way, feel free to share it or leave a quick review. It means a lot. Keep showing up, keep growing, and I'll catch you in the next episode.